partner with the Northumberland Federation of Agriculture for tonight's event, and we'll be working with them again next Wednesday for Haldimand Township's meeting. This is the second of 4 events in 3 municipalities the Chamber has organized at a cost of nearly $2,000 to our organization. That's in addition to the ones held earlier this year for provincial elections, and we're now budgeting for a federal all-candidates meeting, just in case, right, Kim? I saw Kim in here somewhere. If you ever wondered what a Chamber of Commerce does, that's just one example of how we support our business community. And now, with an overview of the format of tonight's event, is our moderator for this evening, Kevin Stewart.
Thank you very much, Peter. And, well, the format is actually fairly simple and straightforward. I'm sure we'll get the hang of it as we go along. Each candidate has 2 minutes to provide an overview of their campaign platform, after which they will be invited to respond to questions that are collected from the floor. So they have 2 minutes for their speech and then 1 minute to respond to each question, unless it's a yes or no type question. 3 candidates for school board trustee, so that'll be up to 30 minutes for that section. And then we will be moving along to the 9 candidates for council for wards 1 and 2, so that'll allow us for 90 minutes, or up to 90 minutes for that. And 6 candidates for mayor and deputy mayor, which will take us to another possible 60 minutes. And to make sure that things do move along, we want to emphasize that timing will be strictly enforced. They're even going to make sure that everybody is aware when your time is coming near. Where have we got our sign holders going? There they are, right there. See them? Yeah. Okay. So when you have 15 seconds left, you will see that. And when your time is up, the sign goes up, your microphone goes off. Yeah, that's how we do it here. So they will collect written questions from the floor throughout the evening. The questions can be directed to all candidates on stage or to individual candidates, and the questions will be delivered to the table at the front. And where was that? They will be sorted by content. They will then be rewritten for clarity, or multiple questions that are on a similar topic. They will put them together for the interests of efficiency. And because of time restrictions, we cannot guarantee that all questions collected from the floor will be put forward. The sorters are going to do their best to ensure that the most frequently asked questions are going to get top priority. But if afterwards you find out that your question didn't get asked, that might be why, just because of time restrictions. But they're going to do their best to get to as many of the questions being asked as possible. And we got to do our little housekeeping here. Profanity, outbursts, displays of disrespect will not be tolerated. And on-stage placement and order presentations were determined by random draws that were held earlier this evening. So we're trying to get everything as well laid out as possible. If you have a question as to why things are the way they are, they've already taken care of all that. And as mentioned, we have 3 of them right here. You can see their names clearly, so as long as you know your name, you'll be able to find your spot very easily at the table. We have Mike, Philip, Jane, Klassen, Janinga, and Gordon Gilchrist. And, we've just asked to ask everybody also as part of the housekeeping if cell phones can be turned off for the duration of this meeting so that we continue on. That would much be appreciated. Just silence them. And we will start right now with opening remarks. First we go to Mike Phillip.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for inviting me to speak with you. I feel very privileged to have the opportunity to run for Public School Board Trustee in our community. Public education is the foundation for our kids, and if elected, my mandate is to ensure that the next generation is prepared for our diverse and ever-changing world. I look forward to being an advocate for you and our children. I've worked with kids and their families as an educator, a coach, and as a mentor for over 35 years. I'm now retired and have a young son in grade 5 at Crafton Public School. I continue to be involved as a hockey dad, and I volunteer at the school on a regular basis, as well as being involved in various other community organizations. I have the skill set to be a strong link between our community and the school board. I would like to share a few of my priorities. I'm a strong advocate for mental health education and awareness in our schools and community. As a trustee, I will foster partnerships with community organizations. A strong voice is necessary to develop student programs and training for all teachers and support staff. Much of my life has been spent working with kids as a coach, and I continue to publicly support extracurricular programs in our schools as they can reach all students and are often a great equalizer. Teachers and community volunteers are essential for making activities happen within our schools, and we need to see this continue to grow. I need to work with school boards with regard to budget and fiscal responsibilities. We need to ensure that our tax dollars are being spent on education with the best interests of our kids and their families at heart. These can be difficult conversations considering today's economy. I can advocate for you at the board table and help to ensure accountability and transparency. We also need to ensure that our schools and school board continue to provide our students with access to technology. Our kids are 21st century learners and live in a digital world, and we need to embrace and accept this. Our schools and teachers need the technology and training to provide our schools with the 21st century education they need. I will be the voice at the board table to ensure that our children have the necessary tools and know-how to move forward in today's world. I possess the skills necessary to collaborate with all stakeholders. I'm open to new ideas and have the ability to be the voice of our community.
And that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mike Phillip. Okay, we move along, and next we will hear from Jane Plassen-Janinga.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow candidates, Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to start by thanking the community of Alnwick Haldimand for its support during my past 4 years as one of your trustees. Having lived in this community for the past 20 years, I continue to enjoy the municipality's sense of community and various activities from Santa Claus parades to the Roseneath Fall Fair. Highlights of my first term have included seeing full-day kindergarten implemented in Grafton and Roseneath Public Schools, seeing the success of teaching and learning initiatives in the Reading Recovery Program at a variety of schools across the board, including Roseneath, which saw our children in our most vulnerable grade 1 sector achieve the provincially recommended reading level during this past year. Having our First Nations trustee representative this past year from Alderville has allowed me to be able to work with him on several key areas of emphasis within the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit framework. The reduction of wait times for assistive technology by our special needs students from several months to an average of less than 6 weeks has occurred over the past 4 years. And of course, there's always the graduations. So why do I want to continue this? First and foremost, I believe in the leadership direction of this board. Our current strategic plan, Living, Learning, and Leading in a Changing World, is an exemplary plan to ensure that student needs are being addressed across a broad spectrum of issues, from nutrition to mental health to numeracy and literacy. Secondly, I want to ensure that the community's needs are reasonably addressed. Thirdly, our students need an advocate for programs which support their unique abilities, aptitudes, and interests to help prepare them for their career choices and long-term success. I've always been passionate about education and special education in particular, and I'd like to continue to advocate for our students with special needs to ensure the great work that we have seen in the past 4 years continues. Moving forward, I intend to advocate for improved student transportation. It's obvious to me that a one-size-fits-all busing no longer works. As your trustee, I will continue to make every effort to be available to any community member wishing to better understand the issues of the board and our public system. Your continued support going forward would be an honor and a privilege.
Nicely done. Thank you very much. And we will move right along to Gordon Gilchrist.
Ladies and gentlemen, of course in just 2 minutes it's not possible to tell you about all the many achievements of the Kawartha Primary School Board, so I don't intend to talk about them or me. Just let me mention a couple of important items for which you will appreciate that as an experienced trustee of over 14 years, is this okay? I've been able to firmly influence the board. The first item is one you all know. It's the installation of interactive electronic display techniques, the smart board, into our classrooms. They bring today's vast amount of pictorial and verbal information to the teaching and learning of our students. KPR is the first school board in Canada to adopt the Discovery Textbook program, containing all the wide array of subjects of the Discovery Channel and TV, complete with questions and answers for classroom discussion. As a result, the depth and quality of teaching in everything from math to physics to geography, etc., is greatly enhanced. The second item is the giving of much greater emphasis to science and technology because of their vital importance in today's world. Our new Coburg Collegiate will have 2 brand new science labs and 4 other refurbished labs to support a careers in science initiative. We're asking our teachers to recognize the career opportunities offered by science, advanced electronics, robotics, nanotechnology, biomedical, clean energy, environmental sciences, and many more. This past year, my colleague Jane and I achieved a major victory in re-establishing Cobourg Collegiate Institute to become the biggest and best high school in Kawartha Pine Ridge. It will excel broadly and double the career choices in the sciences, the arts, in business, and the trades. Our elementary school kids will never have better choices and opportunities for higher and broader learning. I pledge to continue raising the bar for deeper and higher education here in Roseneath, Grafton, and throughout the Cobourg area, for you and your most precious possessions, your children. Finally, I want to ask you and thank you for having given me your trust for the past 14 years and ask for your continued support and your vote. Thank you for coming tonight.
Okay, we want to thank all our candidates for a school board trustee, and we will make an exception. Normally our format is that we only take the prepared questions, but because this was another addition to the evening and we don't have any that have been written out, we will take any questions from the floor if anybody has any. Does anybody have any questions they want to direct to any of our candidates? Oh, we have one back there.
Hi, Gord. Hi, Janie. My name is Shelley Newton. I was school council chair at Roseneath for 14 years. The board, when are they going to start addressing the busing transportation?
Sorry? When are we going to what?
Continue to improve the busing transportation. The road I live on, we have children getting picked up on a very unsafe stop this year, and no one seems to be able to get student transportation to acknowledge it.
Well, first of all, if you would kindly email me the information regarding your students' issues, I would be happy to take a look at it and see if I can forward that. But to that end, I have been speaking with the superintendent in charge of transportation, and we are looking at overhauling our busing policies going forward in the coming years, in the short term.
I can tell you that we have had quite a rash of busing issues this year, moving bus stops and things like that. Every bus stop costs the board $3,000 if you divide the number of stops by the budget. And it's a very complex thing. We move over 25,000 students every day, two ways. So these are not easy issues, and I'm glad I don't work for that bus company. But if you bring any of these issues to our attention, specific issues, we're more than happy to try and resolve them for you.
Yes.
I have a question. Back to the transportation. Has there ever been a reduction in the budget to the township of Haldimand for the 3 buses that run out of the Alderville First Nations? They run to the same store or same school. Take the students back, pull them up here, but we have buses there doing the same, can do the same thing. Is there a reduction in the budget at all? I wouldn't think so.
Well, the budget is not really controlled by Kawartha Pine Ridge Board. First of all, busing is not a requirement of any school board. We don't have to have buses, but we choose to employ a company, Cisco, and they do really a very fine job of moving all these students. How they deploy and apportion their costs really is their business as a non-profit, supposedly, company. But I can't imagine that they would have exactly the same stops for buses, whether they be Alderville buses or regular buses.
Do they go through the same? Or?
Well, we'll look into it.
Anybody else care to respond? Okay. Do you have another question?
Certainly the thing that we're seeing now in schools today is that right across the whole spectrum, we're seeing kids that need that kind of guidance. It's important that we provide that opportunity for all our kids. Where we need to really step up, I think, is to provide the training for our own staff and teachers within the staff, within a school, so that they can see the situation quickly and be able to make adapt to that situation so they can target the children that really need that help. There are other agencies that we use, and we would tie in with them.
We got another. Yeah.
I was going to say, do I get to add to that?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Thank you. Two things. One is, first of all, in each region for the last 3 years, and including this year, we have had a parents' conference that is focused on mental health. We held it in Peterborough 2 years ago. It was in Northumberland at Port Hope last year, and it's being held in Clarington at Bowmanville High School on October the 18th this year. In addition, through ministry initiatives, we now have 2 full-time mental health nurses in our board that work through our board at our schools. We also have mental health counselors that are deployed in certain schools, particularly those that are deemed to be high risk, more so than others. And sitting on the Special Education Advisory Committee, I can also tell you that we do have a program that is going forward where all the principals and vice principals will be given specific mental health training and a mental health first aid program.
Any other responses? Response to that? Oh. Just answered your question. Okay. Do we have any other questions from the floor?
Can you carry the mic to the person that's asking the question so we can all hear the question, please?
Thank you.
If we have any more questions from the floor, we can certainly do that. Back here.
Dale Ashford. My question to the board is, because I work in childcare, at a cost of $1.5 billion for Ontario to put into place JKSK 5 days a week for the little children to go to school, what we're finding is some of these children with very special needs aren't able to adjust and are being sent back to the daycares. I'm wondering what this board has in place to help those children. It seems to be a lack of trained staff for special needs. Is it a budget issue, or is it a numbers issue, staff-wise, or some other issue that these children are coming back to daycares?
The matter of financing is always a very difficult one. We handle a budget every year of about $380 million. That's over $1/3 billion. And those dollars are spread over a myriad of reasons and courses and objectives. And the junior kindergarten and kindergarten are very important issues for us. Kids at that age are just sponges in sopping up information and education. And we try to do our best to give a general handling of all the kids, even the very young ones to the older ones in each of the grades. And they're quite distinctive, whether they were born half a year earlier or not. So if there is a deficiency there, it's handled on a one-to-one basis. And Gail, I'll speak to you about that personally if you care to, so I can elaborate on it further, if that's all right.
Neither. Candidates have a response?
Told you all I know.
Yeah, I'll just tee in with a little bit of information. I think this is year 5 of the rollout, and so we're finding that we're hearing about behaviors that we never heard about before with kids in school full time. It is something that the Teaching and Learning Department, Special Education, is looking at very closely and following and monitoring. But I can say, actually, with a great deal of pride, that Across the province, most boards, and including ours, our funding envelope for special needs has been cut by the ministry and redistributed according to how the ministry deemed it to be. Kawartha Pine Ridge District School Board said that that wasn't good enough as a board, and we ramped our special education budget back up to make sure that we continue to have the same amount of EAs and CYWs within our schools. So we are providing supports, and there's always room for more.
One of the things Mike, there we are. One of the things I did as a principal at Colborne Public School was to invite parents and their kids in for an evening a week to do some acclimatization. What they did was they brought their toddlers in, and we involved them in all kinds of activities through the evening. And this helped these kids adjust to the early years programs that were offered. It also provided a bonding of sorts between myself and the parents, so that I got to know the parents and I got to know the kids. And that helped when I walked into the JK and SK preschool classroom, because I already had made those connections. So I know that those kinds of programs are ongoing in our school and in our schools across the board, and I certainly support them. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have another question from the floor? Oh, right up the front. Yes, go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Dave, and as I look around this crowd here tonight, I would perceive that most of us have gone to school before computers and were introduced to calculators perhaps later on in our later years. And in light of that, I just want to ask, this is for any of the candidates, will there be emphasis placed upon teaching students basic math skills and phonics and that sort of thing? Because I have heard reports that many students now, because of the techie age that we live in, they're leaving school and leaving high school not even able to read properly and to do their basic times tables and arithmetic and math tables, because they do them all on computer and calculators now. And I think it would be far more beneficial if children and students learn to do this by hand, like my father made me do when I was 8, and to learn how to spell and basic skills that I have been told that students no longer really are emphasized for teaching.
Well, in response to that, I think the flip side of that coin is that we compete extremely well in the world. In terms of our educational foundations, we have some of the most highly trained kids in the world today. We compete at a global level. I feel our school system is doing the job. As I said in my speech earlier, the 21st century is developing jobs that we haven't even got an idea where they're coming from. The basic read and write is still there, but there's a lot more going on now, and I think we would be missing the boat if we didn't embrace the future. And the future is technology in the 21st century, and it's coming whether we like it or not. I know, I watch my son. Thank you.
If I may, we recognize that, particularly in the area of numeracy and math skills, that we can. All you had to do was pick up a newspaper and listen to the province and the Minister of Education talk about dipping math scores in EQAO, particularly this past year. We have partnered together with Trent University and Dr. Kathy Bruce to do some amazing research as far as implementing math skills right from primary on up. And we have a specific program that's in place for grade 4 students. So next year will be the first year that that group of students will write EQAO, and it's focused on it was focused specifically on fractions and math and multiplication to bring back those strengths. And so we're hoping that maybe not this year, but maybe next year we'll see some real changes. But the work is going on, and we do recognize the need for it.
I'm chair of the program committee at the board, and Jane is also a member of that committee. We recognize that shortcoming last year, 2 years ago, sorry, and put some pressure on our teaching and learning establishment to deal with that specific thing. We recognize that kids today use their smartphones as their means of calculating, but that we can't change that. That's just modern accomplishment. But we can see that they get more rote learning, and we have done so. We have put specialty training teachers out to teach the teachers in the 3 areas we serve, Clarington and Northumberland and Peterborough. So we expect to see some significant improvement in the next year, as Jane said. It won't show up for the 3 years we're pushing them through to the next EQAO test, and we expect to see some results then. There will be some words said.
Just remind me, we have a few minutes left in this section of the debate. If anybody is going to have any questions they want to write down and have handed to the candidates for council and later the mayoralty candidates, that other good-looking gentleman on that side of the room. Yeah, I know, not familiar with that, are you? Anyway, Peter will be more than happy to take your questions when you want to hand them into him. And your name, sorry, Donna, right, yes. So Donna and Peter, they're working both sides of the room. They'll make sure that your questions get collected and then passed on from there. We just have a few minutes here. Is there any other questions for our trustee candidates from the floor?
Well, that's good, because I told you all I know about education.
So we would like to thank them all. Everybody knows that in Ward 1 there are 2 positions that everybody is vying for. In Ward 2 there is 1 seat that needs to be filled. So again, it might be a good idea to listen carefully to what everybody has to say in hopes of making yourself a better informed voter. And we're going to get started. Once again, the format is they have 2 minutes for introduction, and we'll go along the line, and then we will be taking the questions that have been submitted. So if we'd like to begin with Councillor for Ward 1, Bernadette Murray.
Good evening. My name is Bernadette Ann Murray, and I'm running for the office of Councillor in Ward 1 of this municipality. Prior to my retirement in 2013, I was the administrative assistant to the CAO of this township for a period of 27 years. My work in the administration department has given me a special opportunity to observe and appreciate just how unique this community is. Our township is comprised of a series of hamlets and villages, each surrounded and supported by acres of farmland, and all is held together in community with horticultural and agricultural societies, farms, and home-based businesses. We have beautiful heritage buildings such as Barnum House Museum, as well as commercial and private structures that provide testimony as to who we are and what we value. We have the Roseneath Carousel that illustrates the high-hearted confidence of the people of Roseneath, who in the 1930s appreciated quality even in a time of austerity. We have a treasured human resource in the volunteer base of individuals who have provided leadership and continuity of service to the township's many boards and committees. This is our historical infrastructure, and it should be preserved. But what of today's challenges, and how do we keep faith with the past while addressing our current needs? We do this as generations of our citizens in this municipality have always done. We have to work together in supporting and sustaining an infrastructure that includes roads, arenas, water systems, and fire departments. We have to continue to be wise stewards of our assets and resources. We must continue to seek out all funding opportunities and provide sources of sustainable growth in order to confront everyday challenges without letting go of our unique identity. So this is the task for us to take on. It is hard work, but we do it in collaboration with each other. The council, the staff, volunteers, and you, the public, through your interest and input. If elected, I promise to do my part.
Thank you. Got most of it there. All right, and next up we will hear from another candidate for council in Ward 1, Francesca Rizza.
Good evening. My name is Francesca Rizza and I'm running for councillor Ward 1. At this time, I would like to present the taxpayer and make positive change on behalf of the community. I have been seeing experience a hardship in the community and I would like to make difference by using approach and its difference from other candidates, and that is work with the people and not just for them. I've been a businesswoman, which is 17 years ago that I retired, 24 years as a real estate agent, run people all the time, and I was manage to manage a home, 2 children as well, job, my years experience, selling house, being a homemaker, taught me the importance and the initiative that no one had to tell me to do something twice, and I developed instant and essential disposition which I put on good use. I want to make Alnwick Haldimand Township place the people want to see and place the people they're proud to live in. I aspire and make a change and attract visitors, increase tourism, aspect of the township, but also provide the community for enhancing the quality of life, as well everyday life such as road maintenance and make those morning commute easier. As taxpayer myself, I can think in many ways that will excuse me, that will have like to be included the decision made by the municipality. If I get elected, my biggest concern will be treating public the way I like to be treated, and by those who are receiving my tax. Sometimes I like to include the public and decision.
Thank you very much. 2 minutes goes by fast, doesn't it? And we would like to move along to our next candidate for council in Ward 1, Ray Benz.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Raymond Benz and I am seeking election as councillor in Ward 1. I now hold the office of Deputy Mayor, or as my granddaughter often calls me, her deputy dog. Some may wonder why I've chosen to run for councillor. To put it simply, I think this is the best course of action for myself and for this municipality. Also, my Scottish grandfather must smile when he sees me out putting up election signs from my very first campaign. I'm certain he'd say, "Laddie, make sure you carry such cost cutting to that council." How does our municipality do more with less when the provincial government continues to download on us? The aim of any council is to provide municipal services to ratepayers at the lowest cost possible. To do this, your council has made some very difficult and very unpopular decisions in the last 2 years. But did you know we have one of the lowest tax rates in Northumberland County? Actually, the second lowest tax rate in Northumberland County. The next council must ensure that this continues. As a resident who has lived, farmed, and raised my family here, I have coached soccer and softball teams, led scouts and ventures. I still sometimes shake with my left hand. Sat on the board of directors of the Durham Farmers Cooperative and the Ontario Pork Producers Association. With council, I chair the Parks and Recreational Committee. I have chaired the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority for 3 years and sit on the steering committees of the Northumberland Safe Communities Council and the Waterfront Trail Cycling Master Plan, just to mention a few. If elected, I will certainly add municipal depth and experience to the new council. I will represent you, the taxpayer, with the very best of my ability. I respectfully ask for your support and, of course, your vote for the upcoming election.
And thank you very much. So next, our candidate for council in Ward 1 is Kathy Endicott Ritchie.
Okay. Constituents, fellow candidates, Chamber of Commerce, and reporters. I am Kathy Endicott Ritchie, not to be mistaken with the other Kathy Ritchie that has recently been appointed to the clerk of Northumberland County. I'm here tonight to ask you for your support in my run for council in Alnwick, Haldimand Township. I have 4 years of experience being on council from 2006 to 2010, as well as a diploma as a paralegal. Both provide me with the knowledge and experience to work for you in the 2014 to 2018 municipal government term. Alnwick Haldimand is an amalgamated community, but it is still referred to as the North and the South. Decisions at council are based on the whole community, but the township is still segregated at the polls. I would like to see the entire township voting for their representatives. The ward system does not hear the voices of an amalgamated community. If we are going to address the issues of all the constituents of the township, then the entire township should vote who they would like to represent them. We are going into a term that will have 5 people on council instead of 7. This means that your representatives must give 110% to the running of our community. They must open their minds to the entire township, north, south, east, and west. They must listen and make the best choices for all in the township, not just a single town or community. We are a diverse township. It will take commitment and teamwork to understand the different needs of our residents on our farmlands, in our hamlets, in our towns, and on our seasonal occupants, to ensure choices are being made for the benefit of all. I will work diligently to ensure that all your voices are heard while maintaining the integrity of our township within the guidelines made for us by the provincial and federal governments. It is not enough to say no one will listen. Why bother? Have your voices heard and vote. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we will hear from another councillor for candidate for council in Ward 1, Ronald Farrow.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow councillors. I'm running for councillor, Ward 1. I come from a diversified background. I was an electrical contractor for 45 years, had retail business for 20 years, and just about everything else you could think of. Anyways, I think the most important thing for a councillor is respect for the taxpayer. Listen to what they have to say and be accountable to the taxpayer for what your actions in council. This past council made some decisions that were very hard on people by moving the satellite office in Roseneath for the elderly, the handicapped, and our agricultural people who work from daylight, sun up till sundown, and can only afford a few minutes to run into an office to talk, not 2 hours to run to Grafton. And we're missing out on a lot of diversified stuff in the area by not having that office there, and I think it should be there, and I don't think they should have downsized the council from 5 to 3 council members, because the world's more complex, bigger, more things going on, and 5 heads make better decisions than 3, and that's one of the reasons that I'm running. And the past councillors and mayor and deputy mayor have trouble following the election guidelines, where they put their signs on hydro poles and trees. It specifically states you can't. And I think the office itself needs to have an efficiency report done on it, because if you ever tried to phone there and get a hold of somebody, and they also, you phone in, and this is personal experience, I made 3 appointments with a lady personally over a very important issue, and all 3 times when I went there to see her, she was, oh, she had to leave, she had an appointment, she's not in today, she had an appointment, but she didn't have the common decency to phone me back.
Thank you very much. Okay. And next we will hear from councillor candidate for Ward 2, Sherry Gibson.
Good evening. With the Roseneath Agricultural Society volunteers having just wrapped up another very successful fall fair, I am reminded that our people, community, and resources make this a strong and vital place to live. My name is Sherry Gibson, and I'd like to be your strong voice as councillor for Ward 2. As a property owner in Ward 2, I want to assure you that you and I share the same concerns about the future of our township. My husband Mike and I built a home and raised our 4 children on a 100-acre parcel of land that borders Webb and Baxter Road, and dabbled in farming. We will provide to our grandchildren and future generations the opportunity that my in-laws provided to us. We are a family with roots in this township. My employment with Community Care Northumberland in senior management over the past 23 years has provided me with many opportunities for growth and the ability to be decisive, clear, and assertive while working as a team player. I have a sound understanding of Northumberland County, its programs and services. I believe the Alnwick Civic Center should be maintained as a hub of activities for Ward 2. I believe we must provide resources and support to our volunteer firefighters who are our first responders in crisis, and continue to support the great work of all of our volunteer committees. I believe we must provide our business community, agricultural and tourism industries with good infrastructure and ensure due diligence so our natural resources are well protected, well managed, and continue to contribute to your success. I bring experience as a councillor from another term and ask for your vote so that we can take pride in what our forefathers created for us and work together to strengthen this great community.
Thank you, Sharon. Next, candidate for council in Ward 2, Egidio Riccio.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Egidio Riccio, and the reason I decided to run for Ward 2 is because a lot of decisions should be made by the past council. They're not being right, and they really they increased our taxes, not providing any services for most of the areas, which there is approximately about 500 to 600 cottages on the lakefront, and they don't receive nothing as a service. Maybe with the next administration, this will improve, hopefully. Hopefully I'll be voted for the chair, but I don't think I will, anyway. All I can provide is some new ideas. I've been in business for many years, me and my wife. We had a restaurant and a catering business for over 20 years. And also I run a business which I employed over 100 people into automotive industry. And I was the president of the company. So I do have the experience to give some suggestions, whether it is for the budget, whether it is for attract more business or whatever. So my thing is, if you want some new, fresh ideas, I do have the experience. And I will try to help everybody because Ward 2 doesn't get to be heard from nobody. So, thank you. So that's all.
Thank you. So next, another candidate for council in Ward 2, Darlene Farrow.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I wish I would see you all at council meetings as I have been attending for over a year. I have put my time in. I'm a valuable part of this community. I volunteer my time at the fair, at the Canada Day Parade. I believe that when they shut down our satellite office, they tore the heart out of our community. They say that the cost was too high, but yet they found the means to have our bylaw officer there 1 day a week, 4 times a month. So I don't understand why they shut down our office. They say for convenience. I see no convenience. I have to travel to Grafton. The weather isn't always friendly to us. When you get there, the availability of the people, it's very sparse. It needs to stop. We need to bring our satellite office back to us. I have bright eyes, new ideas. I've been a contractor for over 25 years. I'm a university graduate in business and architect. I have a lot to offer this community. One, because I love it and I live here, and there's so much that can be done, and we need to do it. We need to stand together and be strong. When you call at town hall and you ask to speak on the docket, it's like you got to win a lottery to get before them to speak. No question is too small, no question is too foolish. If you have something to say, you should have the right to speak before council. You are taxpayers, just like I am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Darlene. one more introduction we have for candidate for council in Ward 2, James Fell.
Fell, sorry. There you go. All evening and I've got it wrong. Okay. Good evening. My name is Jim Fell. I'm one of the current councillors for Ward 2 and a proud resident of Roseneath. I'd like to thank the Chamber and the Federation for putting on this event. For the past 4 years, I and my fellow councillors have been faced with some very difficult decisions. It has not been easy to keep Alnwick Haldimand on an even keel, as the provincial government continue to download fees and cut grants to the municipalities, and there's more to come. For an example would be the upcoming OPP contract, which looks like is going to cost us even more money. If selected to continue to represent the folks of Ward 2, I will once again do my very best to control the spending and seek out opportunities for saving and additional revenue for Alnwick Haldimand. Please feel free to take one of my information sheets. I don't have enough time to go through all of it on here at this. We'll find some of my achievements over the past 4 years, such as the twinning of our town with the township namesake in Northumberland, England, and my part in bringing LED street lighting to our township, which will result in a saving of approximately $30,000 a year. You will also read some of my goals for the next term. Thank you for this opportunity to represent you, and it will be an honour to continue for another term if I should be elected. Thank you very much.
Thank you, James Fell. And those are the introductions. We just want to remind you once again that if you have a question you would like to write down for any of our candidates, just hold them up and our two folks will collect them from you. So we're going to start with the questions that we have for so far, and each candidate will be asked to respond. You will have 1 minute to respond to any of these questions for each of you. So once again, we'll enforce the strict time limits. The first time out, we will begin on this end, and then each candidate will have a chance to respond. So the first question for our candidates is, what do you believe the short-term and long-term priorities are for the municipality, and why? The short-term and long-term priorities, what do you believe they are, and why? We will begin with Bernadette Murray.
I think our short-term and our long-term goals are actually the same thing. Underlying everything in our structure, our infrastructure, is our love of the farmland and the agricultural way of life. It informs us. We do receive information from a lot of different sources, but nature is our biggest thing to listen to. And I think people in this community, they come here for a reason, and they stay here for a reason, because they're embracing this way of life. So, you know, nature is short-term and long-term. You can deliberate that, you know, and think about it. But I have a big, how would I say it? I have a big vision about our township and a great love of it. And I am very excited. I don't come from a place of dissatisfaction, and I will take anything and build on it anytime, as Mother Nature tells me.
Okay, and the question now, Francesca Rizza.
There's many short and long-term in the municipality. There's a lack of job, which result the community who is unable to provide for their families and poor quality life. The service have been provided by taxpayer, not sufficient enough to live the everyday life. So I'm here, I'm willing to listen everybody that has a suggestion or need help. If I get elected, my door is always open. 5 days a week, from 9 to 4. Thank you.
Okay, and to Ray Benz.
Thank you very much. We live in a very diverse society, and our municipality is very, very exemplary of this. We live in an agricultural society, which I believe we owe a great deal of respect to. We live in a society where tourists are also a great asset as far as our municipality is concerned. We are one of the few municipalities that, is that me? We're one of the few municipalities that do have a First Nations well, we surround them. There's no questioning that. So we have a very diversified. We are very diversified with First Nations. So again, tourism, agriculture, First Nations. It's all wrapped up into one, and we have to be very, very careful of how we manage our tax dollars.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So Kathy Endicott Ritchie.
Maybe I'll just use my big girl voice.
If you look around this room, you'll notice that the vast majority of people here are older than I am. I believe that we have to take care of these people and provide them with information on the services that are in Northumberland County to help them stay and live in their own homes. There are developmental charges. I'm getting nervous, I'm sorry. We have to control our developmental charges. Half of our township is not able to be built on, so the rest of the township is where you're getting your developmental fees from, and I believe that they should be kept at an even keel, not be allowed to.
Thank you, Kathy. Once more, we'll remind you the question, what do you believe the short-term and long-term priorities are for the municipality, and why? And next, it's Ronald Farrell.
Well, I look around the country, I see these small villages, Roseneath, Centerton, and they're dying right in front of us. There's nothing happening. The stores are closing, people are moving out, and we have to do something, come up with an initiative to encourage people to open a small business, variety store, antique store, anything to bring business back into the town, which will bring tourists in, they'll take a look around, they'll see what we have here, and they'll want to live here. It's not a case of inviting them, but attracting them to the area. We have the parks around here that we could have functions in year-round, from snowmobile races, concerts in the summer, to attract people into the area and bring money into the area, and possibly they will move to the area and get small business, industrial to come to the area.
Thank you. Okay. And now Sherry Gibson.
I think both our short and long-term challenges are going to run together, and that is we want to make sure that we engage people in this community that give back to the community. I see that here. I think what we have to do is ensure that that continues on, that we provide resources for our volunteers. I think that we've got to make sure that we've got recreation for all ages, right from youth to senior. And if people choose to live in township, we want to make sure that there are services available for where they live. So ensuring that there's a good infrastructure in place for transportation, that people are able to choose to live here but get into the urban areas if they need services there. Thank you.
Thank you. And Egidio Riccio.
Well, I think that we should continue to support the farming business because that's our main resource. But then again, we should start looking to increase the industry on something else. Like, for example, maybe more businesses, more construction, so whatever. So we have to start to move to build up more business that our kids won't leave our home. They will stay with us here. If we continue this way, everything's going to die and everybody's gone. Now, where does the young people go? Where there's money. We don't have nothing to offer them for young people. So we have to create something. We've got to come up with an idea to increase this business for young people to stay here. And that's That's pretty much what I have to say.
Thank you. And Darlene Farrow.
There is no long-term, there is no short-term. We need to generate jobs. Unemployment rate all over Canada is phenomenal. We need to stop it. We need to take pride in our community. We need to make it welcoming from people perhaps from Toronto or other parts to come and want to live here and raise their children away from the gunfire and all the violence. We are a strong community. We are a safe community. Thank you.
Thank you. And James Bell.
My first priority long term would be try and get the Oak Ridges Marine back in our ownership. There's a number of building lots, etc., that could be freed up. We're talking hundreds here. And we're constricted by the Oak Ridges Marine policy. It's up for review next year, and I'd love to see somebody with the fortitude in government to actually hand it back to the people. We also need to have a continued reserve build-up. For years we haven't really had enough, and reserves are very important if expenditure and infrastructure, and we have to meet certain percentages of that. We've also got to make sure that we chase every government grant and what have you that's out there. Thank you.
Okay, we thank you to all our candidates for responding to that. We have a second question from the audience, and it is directed to all candidates. And this one a little bit wordy, but I think we can get the gist of it. If there are no farmers elected to the new council, would you support forming an agricultural advisory committee associated with planning and or building official to monitor severances and economic development proposals? So everybody's clear on the question? We're good on that? Okay, so we're going to start this time around with Francesca Rizza.
Hi, I understood and I didn't understand the question. Would you like to repeat, please?
Okay. If there are no farmers elected to the new council, would you support forming an agricultural advisory committee associated with planning and or building official to monitor severances and economic development?
Yes, I will do it for our community. I'll do anything to make sure there's job available, farming, and whatever is available to help them out.
Okay, Ray Benz.
Yes, I guess this is one of the reasons to elect me to council, because I am a farmer. I sat on the Agricultural Advisory Committee as far as Fleming College was concerned a number of years ago. I'm directly related to agriculture, and this is one of the strengths of our municipality. We're not making any more agricultural land, and we see a lot of encroachment on land in other areas, and this is wrong. We have to maintain our agricultural base, just as we have to maintain other bases in the thing. If a farmer isn't elected to council, we certainly have to give some consideration to this shortfall. Our farmers are becoming bigger and more complicated today, and they need a lot of help in a lot of cases. Thank you.
Yeah, just a reasonable distance from the microphone, and you'll be heard just fine. I like to turn a little bit there, and
my voice.
Kathy Endicott Ritchie.
I would have no problem with there being a committee formed. Take into account, though, that it is not just one councillor that makes the decisions. It's supposed to be a group effort, a group vote. Each individual on council has one vote. And since in our community, that is the council that you have voted in. So, yes, I'm all for any organization that could give input into helping the council deal with, I see that yellow sign, deal with our problems.
Okay, and Ronald Farrow.
Yes, as Ray, I raised quarter horses for 25 years, so I know what farming's like. I don't do it anymore, but yes, I think whether you had 3 farmers on council or 1 or none, I think there should be a farmer advisory board made up of maybe 4 or 5 local farmers to discuss and plan for the farmers and bring it to council to be voted on and make a justified assessment of the situation. Because like I said, 3 councillors cannot think out everything completely with the way the world is today. They're going to be too busy with roads, fire department, taxes, and everything else. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sherry Gibson.
Absolutely, I really like the idea. And I think we could ask the Northumberland Federation of Agriculture, the Northumberland-Central Chamber of Commerce to help set up some terms of reference for a committee like that. We can't say on one hand that agriculture is so important to us, and on the other hand, not give people a voice. So I think the more input that we can encourage from the people that it really matters to in the community, the better off our township is going to be. So short answer, yes.
So again, the question, if no farmer is elected to the new council, would you support forming an agricultural advisory committee associated with planning and or building official to monitor severances and economic development proposals? And next, Egidio Riccio.
Yes, I would support the idea. Matter of fact, I gave the answer already earlier that the farmers should be supported. It's our main resource over the area. And if nobody gets elected into the council, well, they should form a council for themselves and present it to the mayor or to the city council, whatever problems they have, and try to solve the problem. So my answer is yes.
And Darlene Farrow.
I also agree. I think it's very important, and my answer is yes, 110%, because if we don't work together, we will fall apart. So I do support it. And I think it was a wonderful idea and a super question. Thank you.
James Fell.
I think it would be a sad day for Alnwick Haldimand if there was no farmer on the council. My ideas would be to bring in small farms because they seem to be disappearing at a great rate of knots. Farmers are expanding just to make a living. It is the most important section of our Alnwick Haldimand's economy, and without doubt, even with farmers on the council, it's a good idea to go ahead and do this anyway.
Okay, thank you. And finally, Bernadette Murray.
This is where it really does serve me that I was working with the municipality for 27 years. In the dim recesses of my memory, I remember that there were 3 farmers that do comprise already a rural advisory committee. They were sent letters of courtesy sometimes to get their opinion on farming matters. If we already have this in place, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. What we do need to do is to recharge and revitalize this group and bring them forward. They already exist. But like so much in our farming community, it goes about unseen and unmonitored. Farmers are the best monitors of our community that there is. And so let's see if I will do some research on this and find out who those names are. I would say them, but I don't want to guess. Thank you.
Hunt them down. We want to thank all our candidates for responding to that. We have one more question for our municipal candidates for the council. And this is one of those yes or no questions that we mentioned before. You have, for the other ones you had up to 60 seconds. For this you basically have 2 seconds. Your answer could be yes or no. Any expansions beyond that, and our man at the board will do what he does, and you know he will. So, we will begin. This is the question. We just need a yes or no answer from each respondent. Should candidates be permitted to run in wards they don't live in? So should candidates be permitted to run in wards they don't live in? We'll just go down the line, beginning this time with Ray Bands.
No.
Kathy Endicott Ritchie.
Yes.
Ronald Farrow.
Yes.
Sherry Gibson.
Yes.
Egidio Riccio.
Yes.
Darlene Farrow.
Yes.
James Fell.
No.
Bernadette Murray. No. And Francesca Rizza. Yes. Everybody heard that one?
Yes.
Okay, so now we have a question which is specifically for Bernadette Murray. You had a long and successful career as a much respected municipal employee. What, if any, advantage does that give you over the other candidates?
This is it's a huge landscape. When I look out at the faces here, and I remember people's grandparents, I know their severances, I go by a property and I embrace it as an entity. And the roots are very deep here for me. I came here 31 years ago from Toronto when everyone said, what are you doing here? Did you inherit land? And I came and I thought it was Camelot. I thought it was beautiful. All the winding roads and the, you know, it's a little bit like Anna Green Gables, you know, the White Way of Delight. It's enchanting. And so that's why I'm so committed to protecting what's precious.
And now we have a question for Francesca Rizza. What is the greatest asset this township has?
It's a beautiful township. The only thing it needs is a little cosmetic, and it needs people who run the place properly. Because yesterday I went to Colburn at the Kill Center. While we were driving, it was a beautiful little town. By being elected, I'm going to help between my husband, to run as a mayor, and my friend as a deputy mayor. Roseneath is going to be like Toronto City. We'll make the best to attract tourists and jobs.
Thank you. We have a question for Ray Benz now. How will the downsized council continue to be represented at all of the boards and committees, extra boards and time now? So how will the downsized council continue to be represented in all of the boards and committees?
Okay. Don't touch it. I'll begin now. Okay. The council is downsized, and this will mean that, get off my head. This will mean that there will be a lot more responsibility and a lot more functions as far as the individual councillors are concerned. What's going to happen is the fact that unless we're needed at a meeting, we will probably not attend that meeting as far as the committee is concerned. We'll space our committees probably, instead of meeting every month, you'll see a lot more committees possibly spaced every 2 months. There is some benefits to this as far as the number of councillors are concerned. It's something that we will have to think out, and it's something that will certainly bear a lot of scrutiny, but we will make it work. We will make it work, believe me.
Thank you. And for Kathy Endicott Ritchie, the question, what do you believe the two most important elements are that will allow council to work together effectively, and why?
Don't touch it.
The two most important elements to help council work effectively. They need to work as a team. There's been a lot of bickering over the years on different issues, and bickering doesn't get anywhere. It just makes the meetings a whole heck of a lot longer. That's one. You want another one? I really can't think of another one. If we don't work as a team, or if the council doesn't work as a team, they're not going to be able to deal with the issues at hand in a proper manner. the bickering has to stop, and it's been going on for years. That's it.
Okay, and we have a question now for Ron Farrow. Developers are pushing for rezoning. What will you do especially to preserve the agricultural importance of this municipality?
What would I do to preserve? It would have to go, everything would have to go before the planning board and a decision made whether the land was usable as recreational, agricultural, or not usable for any normal functions, and a judgment made on that is what I'm saying.
Okay. Question for James Bell. What do you envision as the balance of agricultural, residential, commercial, and industrial assessment to keep our taxes down?
Better ask the treasurer that one. That's not something that we even deal with at council. That's staff problems. I don't think that's a fair question to ask anybody in council or anybody on here with regards to assessments and what have you. That's MPAC's problem. You have channels if you have a question about your assessment to go to MPAC. Obviously, I'd like to see agricultural kept low assessment-wise. It is our major employer and economy driver. And I'd love to see more industry, but we're not seeing much of that. So, but yeah, like I say, that's MPAC and staff.
Okay, thank you. And for Darlene Farrow, what inspired you to run for council?
Like I said, I've been attending council meetings for over a year. There has been what I would call frivolous spending. It needs to stop. When you apply for a government grant and they're told no, it's like, okay, we'll move on to the next issue. No is not an option, and I cannot is not in my vocabulary. I'm here to protect the people and to work for the people. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. For Edigio Riccio, what two personality traits do you have that will be an asset to council and why?
Well, I can name a few, but as I said before, I was into the automotive industry, which I was building parts delivery systems for General Motors or Chrysler or Frank Magna, whichever. And also the restaurant business, which there's many ways how to help out this community. We need the tourism to increase, and I think some of these items will help.
Okay, thank you. Our next one is for Sherry Gibson. Which is more important, retaining low budget increases or improving levels of service in Alnwick Haldimand?
Good question. I think that there has to be good debate around the table from council on both sides of that issue. Sometimes there is a cost to providing really good service to residents, and I think that we have to weigh out whether it is something that people really need as people and taxpayers in our municipality, whether it can be supported financially. So a little bit of debate around the table, and I think that residents need to speak up about what services that they want to be offered in the township.
There we go. So that's the individual questions. We have another question for all our candidates. So each one will have 60 seconds to respond. This one is, what would you do to make the township more cohesive and the residents thinking of themselves as one and not two separate wards, or as north and south? Do you believe it is time to dissolve the ward system? Does anybody need a repeat on that? Okay, this time we'll begin with Kathy Endicott Ritchie.
Basically, that's what I spoke to you about in the beginning, I do believe that you should all vote for your full council and make the decisions as a group. All of you choose everybody that's going to be on council, because we don't separate the north from the south, or we shouldn't separate the north from the south. You still hear that? And it's not right, because the money goes, it's supposed to go for everybody in the municipality. So I would want to abolish the award system and have everyone vote for everybody that is on council.
Thank you. And Ronald Farrow?
Yes, we definitely have a divide here, and it begins at the council. I've sat in council meetings, and I've heard the people in Alnwick referred to as those people up there want everything for nothing. And that is in the minutes of the council. And it's time for it to stop. I think if we voted for a complete council, no division, no wards, we would have a better end result as far as serving the community and respecting the taxpayer and listening to the taxpayer. Thank you.
Sherry Gibson?
I think in a perfect world, it would be great not to have any wards, but I don't think this township is there yet. I think that it's important to have representation from what you might call the north and south. We have in Alnwick Township, the old Alnwick, great pride in what we've brought to the amalgamated municipality. And I would like to, at some point in the future, say that we are one great big community, but I think right now we need to have our own representation in Ward 2 to bring to the table to ensure that all of our very terrific resources are kept, that our industries are successful.
Egidio Riccio.
Actually, I do agree with Sherry Gibson, what is just so said. I don't think it's time yet to divide, to eliminate the wards. I don't think that it really divided at this point. They just need more people to be in the place of the council, to be able to listen to all the voices. At this point right now, there is people that they do, some they don't. I'm sure a lot of people from Ward 2, they have a lot of questions in the past, and they haven't been able to pass it through to the council. So I think that's not the moment yet to eliminate the wards.
Thank you. Once again, the question is, what would you do to make the township more cohesive in the residents thinking of themselves as one and not two, or north and south? Do you believe it's time to dissolve the ward system? We could hear next from Darlene Farrow.
Yes, I think it's time. We are all one. We are all here together. We are all neighbors. We are in the millennium. It's time for a change. I heard a fellow candidate say, we're not there yet. Well, if we don't get moving on it, we're never going to be there. Thank you.
Okay, James Fell.
First, I'd like to arrest the person who asked me that question about assessments. I don't feel that we are ready yet for division. I think the population divide, we could end up with no representation for the Roseneath, the Ward 2 area as it is now, and I'd hate to see that. I've done my best to bring it together. We've brought the Santa Claus parade from alternating north and south. We've had things like the musical ride, etc. So we are trying. I mean, we can't change 100 years, 200 years of history overnight, but it is getting better.
Bernadette Murray.
Oh, I'm still writing. One of the supreme ironies about this question is that in 1832 we were one. We're one of the few municipalities I know in Ontario that actually went back to its roots in the amalgamation process. So we have big imaginations. We have to reach back and recover what we already had. We're lucky in this way because we're small. We can make changes on a dime. We can foster mutual projects that would build up good faith between us as communities. And sure, adversity sometimes drives us together, but fun and mutual projects, can break down barriers, and it can be done. We could surprise ourselves by discovering who we always were. Thank you.
Francesca Rizza?
Yes, I agree that right now we're not ready to divide to be one big community. But in the future, with a good candidate looking after the people, maybe it's going to be able. But at the moment, it's not possible. Thank you.
And finally, we hear from Ray Benz.
Don't touch my hand. We discussed this at our council meeting when we were on the table as far as the reduction of council members from 7 to 5. And the council of the day decided that it was not time yet for the board system to be eliminated. It was one of the stipulations as far as the amalgamation process was concerned. And I would take exception to some of the statements that have been made here this evening as far as the division of the North and South. This council has looked at this as one municipality, and we have treated it as such. And as I say, I take exception to some of the statements here saying that this council has found the idea of a North and South entity. That is just not true. Thank you.
We thank you for your responses. We have another question for all candidates. And this one a little bit short, but it's what are your thoughts on, pardon me, what are your thoughts on wind turbine solar farm corporations in Alnwick, Haldimand? I don't think we need any further clarification of the question. We'll get the responses now, beginning with Ronald Farrow.
None whatsoever. I don't agree with them at all.
That's it? Okay. That's it. Sherry Gibson.
I've done a little bit of research on solar power, wind turbine, and it's just not feasible for a small municipality of ours to even consider that would be a type of energy that we would want to have here. Notwithstanding, we have a beautiful land, and personally don't like to see the obstruction on the land for those pieces of machinery. There's no guarantee that there is not a health risk for wind turbine power. I think the jury's still out on that. And also, there is no infrastructure to get them into our municipality, and also for taking them down when they've reached their life cycle.
Egidio Riccio, please.
Well, I would get totally against to the wind electricity, windmills, whatever you want to call it, and especially the solar, which you see a piece of land is being totally covered with panels. I think they should come up with a different idea. I'm sure they will in the future. There'll be a better way of having power. And windmill, no, I don't think so. I don't think that's the way.
Darlene Farrow.
I decline to answer on that question, reason being I'm not fully educated in the wind tunnels and what have you. But I do have concerns about the health issues. Thank you.
James Bell.
We have a 40-acre, 5-megawatt solar farm right in the middle of our township. Personally, I think it's a total false economy. It's costing the taxpayers of Ontario billions of dollars to subsidize this. If we had gone sensible ways, such as hydropower, there's 160 viable hydroelectric power plants available in Ontario. That should have been the first. It would have been clean, free, but the government never even looked at that. I don't know, Mr. Milligan had talked about it, but there are other ways. I think it's a false economy to erect windmills and stick up solar panels.
Thoughts on wind turbine and solar farm corporations in Alnwick, Haldimand? Bernadette Murray.
Well, I've done my homework. I've watched Fifth Estate a few times. There's documentaries aplenty for people who want to get viewpoints. Everything from the flicker effect on horses and headaches from that neighbors have. What I really had a big problem with is I don't understand why it's not provincially handled. It's given over to big companies to come in, and they have been heavy-handed, and they've divided neighbors from neighbors. And sometimes, you know, they've approached vulnerable people who sign contracts, all of a sudden to wake up and realize that their neighbors were at enmity with them. This is not the proper way, and this is not something for a rural community. It has to be properly envisioned and carried out, preferably on a slow and small and experimental scale first.
Francesca Rizza.
Yes, I don't agree to have it in windmills because my husband and I, so many times, even though we have a cottage, we like to drive around the side road, and I enjoy see the green and the animals there. So they should stay the land is just for the farmers, not plus.
Ray Benz.
One thing that any candidate has not brought forward is the legislation as far as the passage of the Green Energy Act by the provincial government. This literally takes every bit of input as far as municipalities, and of you, the individual people. You have the only person that has any input is the landowner. The large commercial solar farms and the large wind turbine farms, I am not in favor of these whatsoever. We had the situation in our neighborhood as far as wind turbines, and as was said by Bernadette Murray, it literally tore our community apart. I think there are small private units that can be utilized, but as far as the large commercial units, I absolutely say no to this. It's something that we, the people, have no say.
Okay, thank you. And Kathy Endicott Ritchie.
I believe that the land should not be used for this purpose. However, I do believe that as far as the solar panels go, they would make a great rooftop. You can combine a building with solar panels on top, still not taking away from the agricultural land, which we see all over our township, and utilize the sun to provide energy. So if they were on top of rooftops, homes, buildings, arenas, then I'm all for it. Out in the middle of a field, I'm not. I don't think that's such a good idea.
Okay, thank you to our candidates for the response to that question. Now we're going to go to one which just, again, requires a yes or no. So once again, we will just go quickly through the lightning round, as we might call it. So your answer is either yes or no. And the question is, do you think it would be in the best interest of the residents to have 2 or more members of the same family on council? Do you think it would be in the best interest of the residents to have 2 or more members of the same family on council? I know the temptation is there, but please stick to yes or no. We'll begin with Sherry Gibson.
Can I say 2 words? Sorry, no.
Egidio Riccio. That was a no.
I mean, I have my own ideas. He has his own ideas. Like, I feel that was directed towards us.
Yes or no, please.
No.
Okay. James Spell.
No.
Okay. Bernadette Murray. Okay. Francesca Rizza.
Yes.
Ray Benz. No. Kathy Endicott Ritchie.
No.
Ronald Farrow. Okay, we have that question. And we have another one for all our candidates. And this one is, how would you bring tourism to our township? How would you bring tourism to our township? And we'll begin this time with Egidio Riccio.
Well, there's
there's many ways to do that, I imagine. Especially today, we got the biggest tool of internet and communicating with the people in the States and whatever, which we used to have a lot of Americans coming into to this, especially this particular lake is well known all over the United States. And at this moment, they're not coming back anymore because the exact reason I really don't know, but I would think it's because of the dollar mostly. But there is a lot of also people that are closing down the doors because there's not enough business, there's no money to support it. So we have to promote that more as much as we can because it's the second best thing we have here available. So.
Darlene Farrow.
Repeat the question, please.
How would you bring tourism to our township?
My goodness, radio, advertisement, word of mouth. We have so many beautiful lakes out here. We have fishing, we have boating. We have the children, there's sports, there's all kinds of events we could be doing to draw people here. Thank you.
And James Fell?
Well, I've already started, seeing I twinned the townships in England, and they know now that we exist. I think we should be promoting more bed and breakfasts, especially in okay, I'm going to say the northern part of. We have lots of campgrounds and what have you, but I think there's a lot of people looking for just like a simple bed and breakfast type thing, as opposed to like a fishing cottage or something like that. Once again, utilization of the internet, international, as well as more concerts, just more events. I mean, when we put on the musical ride, we were told to expect 500-600 people. We ended up with over 3,000 people showed up that day. So, and they're coming back in 2 years hopefully. So, but that's
Bernadette Murray.
Well, the danger for me is that you ask somebody to come as a tourist and then they want to buy a house here. How many people have had that happen to them? And then members of their family come and all of a sudden they're shh, don't tell anybody about this place because everybody will come. I believe too that home occupancies and bed and breakfasts are the way to go. It's ground source stuff and it's sure and it's not experimental. If it works small and you can take all the bugs out of the system. And there are models out there about agritourism. I went years ago to La Nadière, the North Shore of Quebec, and along the St. Lawrence. Wonderful examples there of what you can do. People coming in off the highways and having, pig roasts and stuff like that. And it was amazing. It was an eye-opener. They were celebrating the land. They just weren't, picking up seeds or whatever. They were having a banquet every day. And so if we could do that here, we could believe in ourselves and let it all happen.
Francesca Rizza.
Yes, I guess it's my turn now. So we all have a different point of view. Oops. And it's regarding advertise. What I will do, I will advertise through even Toronto or the big city around us on the buses, because I've seen already other places. And it's the only way to bring visitors, tourists, and like I said before, making sure that the township is going to be able to receive them and have a good time, a good living. Thank you.
How would you bring tourism to our township? Ray Benz.
Well, first of all, we have to advertise our assets to the public, the world, through the media, and the most obvious is the internet and our television, our newspapers. Something that is being promoted already is the cycling promotion as far as the area is concerned. We have a cycling trail from Niagara to Roseneath, and you're going to see a lot more cyclists on the road right now. These people come, and they see, and as Bernadette said, they like to stay. We have excellent hunting, we have excellent fishing. We need to stimulate small businesses. And one of the things that really turns me on is the 100-mile diet that the church puts on in Grafton. It is something to see the number of people that are there and the local produce and what is offered by those people in agriculture and other systems within 100 miles of Grafton. It's spectacular.
Thank you. Kathy Endicott Ritchie.
I think that our municipality has improved a lot over the last 8 years as far as their internet and their website. They've put out in the last 8 years keeping you informed brochure. So we need to have more events and we need to advertise. So we need to have all of the people in Alnwick Haldimand be a part of this. I think Facebook would spread it right across the world because everybody is on Facebook.
How about you? Okay, Ronald Farrow.
To bring tourism to the area, and if you bring tourism, you're going to spend money, and it's going to cause business for the area. You can do anything you want year-round, from horse shows, car shows, motorcycle races, cross-country, snowmobile races in the winter, hockey tournaments, anything at all will bring people in. I showed in the American Quarter Horse Association for years, and people come from all over to the shows, all over North America, Quebec, States, they come all over to the shows. You put on a quarter horse, get a hold of the Ontario Quarter Horse Association, put on a show here, and you'll be surprised how many people will show up. And they're going to spend money. And that's why big countries and cities do the Pan Am Games, the Olympics, because of the money that the people spend when they come to watch.
Sherry Gibson.
I think it's really important that we continue to partner with Northumberland County, who has a very active tourism department. We've got some really excellent resources in the community. I'm really thrilled to see the accessible trail that's just opened up in Northumberland County, and I think you know, for us to promote tourism here, we have to make sure that we support those business owners that have tourist industries, that we support them by having good signage, good roads, good services, that we support our volunteer community so that when people come, the Roseneath Carousel is open for them to see. And I think that we need to make sure that our little villages and towns look good when people drive through them.
Thank you. Okay, we have one more question now for all our candidates, and once more, 60 seconds to respond. After we make a little technical adjustment there on the one end. We're in this fight right now, are we, Tom? There we go. Give them a hand. Hall, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm sure we're all going to want to hear the responses to this one. The question is, once a budget is set and the municipal tax rate determined, would you be willing to increase the tax rate in order to build reserves? Please explain. Need a repetition? So would you be willing to increase the tax rate in order to build reserves? Please explain, and we'll begin with Darlene Farrow.
I don't want to raise the taxes. The taxes are high enough as they are, and we have nothing here. I'd like to lower the taxes if possible. Thank you.
James Fell.
I believe there was 8 years of zero tax increases and put us in a hole that we're still trying to dig out of. Once the budget is set, the tax rate increase is included in that budget, and it shouldn't be changed afterwards. Anybody should be set so everybody knows when the budget is announced and done.
Okay. Bernadette Murray.
Still making notes here. That's a question that calls for consultation, if there ever was one. Nobody's going to override that. That takes, you're going to look at the vision again, you're going to look at long-term, short-term, and you're going to ask the best advice from a very good treasurer that we have in our employ right now. We're very fortunate. And so when he looks up from a paper and he's looking at those numbers and he's giving you information, he'll tell you where you can broaden and where you can narrow the focus. We're not all endowed with the same ability. So we need to read and to research and to consult on that one.
Francesca Rizza.
Okay, I will not increase tax to our people. We all already pay enough tax in our property. So I'm against it. Raise the tax and try the best, whatever is in the house, to manage at the right way without touching our taxpayer. Thank you.
Thank you. Ray Benz.
Yes, once the budget is struck, it is basically a permanent fixture. The only way that we can deviate from the budget is in a case of extreme emergency. And in that case, we would have to basically draw on our reserves or on monies that would be provided by either the federal or the provincial government. But I would say that I would be very, very much in favor of increasing the tax rate, but increasing it in a way that a dedicated tax. We explain to the public that this 2 or 3% increase is for infrastructure, it is for a specific project. But again, once that budget is struck, only extreme cases of emergency in that should be able to deviate that.
Kathy Endicott Ritchie.
Again, just to say the same thing as Ray did, if the budget is passed, I do not believe that you should be able to go in and change the budget. I do not believe that if something is not in the budget, that it should be, money should be spent. There are times when people ask for money after the budget's been set, and I'm sorry, but if you don't get your requests in at budget time so that the increase in your taxes can be given to the public, then that money can't be given out of thin air. So you should not be able to pay for something after the budget has been set.
Thank you. Ronald Farrell.
No, I don't think the budget should be changed once it's been set and the tax rate's been set. It's gone public, it's gone to the people, and if you want to build a reserve, build it into your budget when you're doing it, so there's no surprises down the road. Thank you.
Sherry Gibson.
I think if council has gone through a good budget processing, then there shouldn't need to be any increases. And I would say that in pre-budget, that council should be looking at what reserves are going to be used for and planning for that. We want to make sure that we have a healthy reserve to support our fire department for any equipment that they would need, that we have a healthy reserve to preserve any township buildings. I know that the Grafton Arena is a building that is starting to age. So I think that's something that gets done prior to. I don't think it's fair to a taxpayer to set a budget, set the tax rate, and then ask for more later.
Thank you. Egidio Riccio.
I think that we should probably freeze the taxes, because I think we're being taxed to the guild, and maybe find a different revenue to make up whatever the needs are. And I mean, if that's really the last goal, then if there's a need of something, well, if we got to increase that 1%, we'll have to increase it. But I would say we should touch any money that has already been into the reserve, just for future.
Thank you for responding to that. We just want to remind everybody for the upcoming mayor and deputy mayor debate that if anyone has questions to please let our collectors know. So you can just hold your hand up and they'll come and collect your cards. So we encourage you to think about that and any questions you would like to ask those candidates, which will be coming up shortly. Finally, as a closing statement, and again this is for all candidates, what is the one unique thing that only you can bring to council? So what is the one unique thing that only you can bring to council? Again, 60 seconds for everybody, beginning with James Bell.
The obvious thing's my accent. Nobody's going to duplicate that. It's hard to, I mean, there's nothing unique other than that about me. I mean, I have a passion for this place. I have a passion for our namesake in the UK, and that's why we twinned. And I hope to continue that twinning process by getting schools involved on both sides of the Atlantic. But I wouldn't say I'm anything special, but I'm tenacious, honest, and that's just me, but I mean, that should apply to everybody on the council.
Thank you. Bernadette Murray.
Well, I'm known to have a big imagination. I embrace change, but what I'm really aiming for is transformation. And I think it can happen in a moment, just like that. And so I think this community is right for it all the time, always has been. And people do it all the time. When I was going around door to door visiting people, I saw their ingenuity in the way they handle problems on their property, the decoration of their property, their pride. And I thought, each household is its own vision of the township. You put that all together and it's quantum. So my imagination, that's it.
Francesca Rizza.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Again, what is the one unique thing that only you can bring to council?
The main thing that I will bring to council will be taxpayer money, making sure that there's a job available. It's not just a luxury, necessity for the people, and making sure that everybody has a good life and bring some work for everybody, because that's what they're looking for. Thank you.
Ray Benz.
Yes. I think I bear the depth of understanding and the municipal experience of having sat on council for a large number of years. I have the ability to work with people, and I have the ability to listen to people. I think it's my personality that basically I offer, and I really can't say anything more except that I do have a wealth and a depth of experience as far as this municipality is concerned, and I think that is probably one of my major strengths. Thank you.
Kathy Endicott Ritchie.
Promise you that I won't volunteer for anything like this because I'm not a good public speaker. However, I'm honest, I won't be bullied, so when there's controversy over different issues and at times you're asked to sway one way or the other, I stand my ground for what I believe in, and I have no problem fighting for the underdog.
Ronald Farrow.
Well, because of my extensive business background, the ability to think things through and come up with a reasonable result is just for everybody. Thank you.
The one and only unique thing that you can bring to council, Sherry Gibson.
That's really tough to say, the one and only unique thing that I can bring to council. Many of you will know that I didn't submit my nomination paper until September 12th. It was not because I didn't want to run, it was because I spent a long time thinking about how could I best represent people in Ward 2. And I decided at the end of that, after consultation with my family and my employer, that I am a people person. I want to serve people. I want to be there for you. And I've never backed away from controversy, but I am honest, open, and looking forward to the opportunity to working with each of you.
Egidio Riccio.
Well, what I can bring to the council is some new, fresh ideas. I can take responsibilities. And I've worked with a lot of different people before, and I'm sure I can work with the council in the future. And what I will do mostly is try to get the new industries to come in. And that's what is my goal, work for people.
Thank you. And Darlene Farrow.
I'm a well-educated woman. I'm an assertive woman. All questions. Anytime you come to me, I will work to my best ability to answer your question and assist you any way I can and give back to our community. Thank you very much, and I'm glad you all came out this evening. God bless.
We would like to thank all of our candidates for answering the questions, and to you for asking them, of course, so that gives us a chance to get a fairly good idea as to, or at least a basic idea of where they stand on the various issues that are of concern to the people in this room, and I'm sure to many of the constituents in the municipality. So once again, a big thank you to all our candidates here. Portion with the mayor and deputy mayor candidates. And we will begin once again with opening statements. Each of them will have 2 minutes to make their statement. Remember, you will once again get the 15-second warning and the stop. I think we're pretty much down with how the system works now, but anybody here, our technical guru here, Tom, has asked me to ask everybody that we please don't play with the mics. He seems to have them all placed in just the right spot, so he'll work on getting the audibility level and all that from his end. So he just said within a reasonable distance of the microphone will be just fine. So we will begin with our candidates with their opening statements. And first of all, Mayor of the candidate, John Logal.
Good evening, my friends. And my name is John Logal, and 4 years ago, you elected me as councillor. I am both impressed and happy to see so many of you. Impressed by the number of people attending tonight, and very happy because it means you care about the future of this township as much as I do, and you want to make sure you can trust me. You want to make sure that when you mount your ballot, you get long-term, lasting resolution, not just quick fixes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you've heard the phrase, nice guys finish last. I have the reputation of being a nice guy, but to the contrary, I have a track record of finishing at or near the top on anything I do. And with your support, I will be there again tonight. I have proven to be a good listener, one who thrives on open and honest communication, one who collects data and all the facts, then sets goals, establishes priorities, takes action, and measures results. If you're looking for a micromanaging mayor who wastes time looking at small things, well, that's not me. Instead, I believe in selecting the right people, the people with the vision and commitment to help build this community. As leader, it is then my responsibility to mold the group, and that includes both council and staff, into a strong, effective team, with each member knowing the meaning and importance of cooperation, understanding, and respect for others. I see myself as the orchestra player, the one who never plays the instrument but combines the talent of many to make beautiful music, and most importantly, takes responsibility for the outcome. I am that kind of person. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next candidate for mayor, Sam Ritza.
Thank you very much. My name is Sam Ritza, and I run for mayor because I wish to represent the resident to Alnwick Township. I wanted to live a better life and see positive change one time. Because for many years, never been changing nothing. So, that's my goal. Thank you very much.
And our next candidate for mayor, Dalton McDonald.
Thank you. I would like to thank the Chamber of Commerce and the Federation of Agriculture for sponsoring this event tonight. Thanks to all of you who came tonight. It shows you have a strong commitment for your community, your township, and your county. As a person who has been at all levels, that being councillor, deputy mayor, and lastly mayor over the last 20 years, I think I have shown that same commitment. Experience and common sense are two things that have enabled me to serve this municipality during those years. Haldimand is in the center of the county, with its southern boundary being Lake Ontario and its northern boundary being Rice Lake. As a selling point at County Council, I always tell the other mayors that if they want to go from one side of this county to the other, they have to go through Alnwick Haldimand to get there. There's about 500 kilometers of county road in Northumberland County, and a large portion of those are in our township. Our main industries, agriculture, tourism, small business, and home-based businesses are the majority of our landscape. Over the last 20 years, I have promoted and helped in any way I could to support these industries and make them viable. One of the main things we try to do is keep tax increases at a manageable level, that being around the rate of inflation. Taxation and the provincial government are our two main sources of income to maintain the unique identity of Alnwick Haldimand Township. Unfortunately, the province in the last couple of years has been decreasing their support, which makes it more challenging. But I believe that there is all kinds of savings and different ways our township can do business to help offset that and keep our tax rate modest so that our seniors, businesses, and future generations can afford to live and thrive here. I'm excited and very optimistic going into the next term. A Liberal majority government is pledging to help commit and support rural Ontario. I would truly like to be involved.
Thank you, Dalton McDonald. Flying the flag, doing our job really well. Those are our candidates for mayor. Now we will hear the introductory statements for our candidates for deputy mayor, starting with Charlie Barone.
Thank you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Charlie Barone, and I'm going to be your deputy mayor. In the past, there has been a lack of responsibility and leadership in Town Hall. Now, more than ever, our new council must work cooperative and professional. The pockets of the Alnwick and Haldimand has been picked long enough. And as a representative of the taxpayers, I will endeavor to streamline the township by consolidating service, reducing government, thus lowering taxes. I strongly believe in working and respecting other members of council, finding common ground for the improvement of the lives of all the residents of Alnwick Township. I will ensure transparency for residents at Town Hall. I will promote fiscal responsibility. I will reduce wasteful spending. I will pay down debt. I will control and lower property taxes. I will be a positive leader, restore dignity and respect in Town Hall. I will ensure there will be no new debts, strict expense control, and will be very frugal with your tax dollars. Ladies and gentlemen, experience and leadership matters. Thank you.
Our next candidate for deputy mayor, Joan Stober.
I'm going to do a speed reading here so I don't get the stop sign. I'd like to thank the Federation of Agriculture for putting this on, as well as the Northumberland-Central Chamber of Commerce. And I'd also like to thank everyone for taking time tonight to come to our all candidates night. I'm running for the position of deputy mayor. I am a lifelong area resident. I was raised on a farm south of Grafton. I now reside in the hamlet of Grafton with my husband Bill. And as well, I have owned and operated my own business. Some of the hobbies I enjoy are walks and riding my bicycle. In 2013, I was fortunate to go on an excursion to China, and it was there that I realized how blessed I was to live where I do. And I don't take this privilege for granted. In 2010, you, the voting public, made it possible for me to enter into municipal politics. I have spent the last 4 years working hard for you. Over the last 4 years, I have represented our municipality, and Bill, this is for you, at the Lower Trunk Conservation Authority. This authority is very valuable to our municipality. Their strict guidelines and policies will protect our priceless water resources. I am Vice Chair of the Treasury Board. Here, our Treasurer, Mr. McNichol, informs us of how we are staying on budget, grants he is working on, and how he is trying to be more cost-effective with our services, and how our $4 million budget is being managed. I also sit on the Library Board. I sit on the Heritage Cemetery Board, and I'm the liaison between the library and the Centerton Board. I'm the representative at the Grafton Horticultural Society and one of our major...
Thank you, Councillor Stover. And our other candidate for Deputy Mayor, Gail Latchford.
Hello everybody, and thank you for coming. And this is exactly what elections should be about. Lots of interest from the public and lots of candidates for you to make the choices. I've been on a municipal council. I've had 8 years experience. I've worked 14 years as a municipal employee, so I'm used to working within the policies and procedures and the regulations of the provincial government and the federal government and the lower tier. I've always loved our beautiful Rice Lake and the tourism that it's brought, and along with our farming community and villages and our country way of life. It's all worth preserving. I've enjoyed serving the last 2 years in Alnwick Haldimand, and I made the choice to move up to Deputy Mayor because I thought I could do a little more. I'm retiring as of July next year from my job, so I'll do the job I love. There's about 3 things that I would like to see. I'd like to see new ways of communication, more letters of information out to you, more town hall meetings, and I'd like to encourage more volunteers to come and sit on our committees. I'd also like to see 1 meeting a month at night. When we were having the issues with the wind turbines, there were many young people having to take a day off work to come to a meeting. Some got paid, some didn't. We're here to serve you, and you're not here to serve us. So we should at least have 1 meeting a month for people to get to. I'm also very interested in short and long-term planning. The short-term planning, I want to see the new fire hall get off the ground in Roseneath. The long-term planning, I want to see on paper so we can apply for grants, we can prioritize what needs done for this township, and that we can work towards...
Okay, thank you. Again, fastest 2 minutes of the night is the ones where you get to make your statement, right? We will move along now to the questions. And we're going to begin with the questions for the mayoral candidates. A reminder that you each will have 60 seconds to respond to the question. So for the mayoral candidates, what is your opinion of the county's official plan? When and why do you support rezoning of properties? And we'll begin with John Lobel.
Okay, I was selected by the township to represent our community on that official plan for the initial plan for the county. We had a person who was hired to be a consultant, and one of the big things that he was suggesting was to take properties throughout the county that were small and amalgamate them all into one big parcel, because he felt that that would be the best way to attract big industry. The parcel that he selected, or they selected, was a very highly agricultural property between Coburg and Port Hope. It was actually the Vernon Farm, which I'm sure you recall. After consulting with many constituencies, it was recommended that we keep that farm, and we did not accept that recommendation, and we got them to move to a different location. Thank you.
Thank you. What is your opinion of the county's official plan? When and why do you support rezoning of properties? And the answer now from Sam Rietzat.
Yes. On March the 4th, I've been approached for Valeria McDonald. And supposed the mayor, deputy mayor, councillor to be there. And Valeria McDonald, they once asked a question about the development. Nobody showed his face there. Mr. McDonald just to come inside, soon as see the media, take off. Mr. John Cole going in the corner. So I had to speak to myself for everybody. And I got this interview. and she asked me about the development. I said, yes, I agree you to have a good development, but we have to respect the environment. We gotta compromise on both sides.
Okay. Thank you. Your opinion of the county's official plan, when and why do you support rezoning of properties? Dalton McDonald.
The official plan came down from the province. We were mandated as a county to have an official plan. There was only like 3 or 4 counties left in Ontario that didn't have their own official plan. And we were mandated to do that. And we went ahead within the last year and a half and we produced an official plan that I think is excellent both for the county and for the townships. And I think financially, in the end, I think the official plan dealing through the county would be more beneficial to us than dealing with Kingston in the province. We're going to be, as the mayors of the county, we're responsible and we will be designating the official plan and laying it out. And I don't know how much closer you can get that to the people than doing that. And I think it'll be financially and just generally better for us. And that's why I support it.
Thank you. Okay, now we have a question for the deputy mayor candidates. And it's simply, what skill set do you bring to the job that will assist the mayor in completing his duties? What skill set do you bring to the job that will assist the mayor in completing his duties? And we'll begin with Charlie Barone.
Skill sets I bring to town hall is I've been a businessman for over 22 years. Understand budgeting, understand how to bring things to cost or in the budget. I also understand the meaning of a dollar, when to spend it, when not to spend it, how to save. And most of all, the most important thing is the taxpayer. To ensure that services are carried out to its fullest and nothing's cut short. Thank you.
Thank you. The skill set you bring to the job that will assist the mayor in completing his duties, Joan Stover.
Well, I have sat through 4 years of council. I have watched the process take place, the budgeting process. I mean, a lot of that is set back in when we do set the budgets. As far as stepping in, I have done management with running my own business. I manage myself in a very professional manner. I'm able to work with the staff, and I'm always there to help.
Thank you. And the skill set you bring to the job that will assist the mayor in completing his duties, Gail Latchford.
Well, as deputy mayor, it would be an honor to work with any of these people as mayor. I'm a good team player. I'm a very good listener and good communicator. I'm also very good at compromising, and I work well with the staff, that's important, and I work well with the members of our committees and volunteer members. I've got some good leadership skills. I've had to have that in my job. I'm also able to make quick decisions when we have to get them made. It's part of the work that I do now, and I work within the regulations and the policy. And I don't always agree with the mayors or the mayor. So sometimes when you don't agree, you've got to sit down and work things out. And you bring the council, and all of us work it together as a team. Thank you.
Okay, so we will now have a question that is directed at all the candidates. So this one is, what are your ideas on shared services with Northumberland County and other townships within the county? So your ideas on shared services with Northumberland County and other townships within the county. This time we'll begin with Sam Ritza.
Me, I don't use it, and I don't know how to use the French words. I speak a very simple language. I speak. First thing, we have to make the taxpayer don't increase no more money because I go around and I say house, farm, for sale, everywhere. I see farmer, 7 o'clock in the morning already top to the tractor. And the whole day the poor person running top to the tractor and finish maybe finish 8 9 o'clock. And then we get up 5 o'clock in the morning to feed this cow, horse, and whatever. So we gotta change that thinking and spend money properly. Don't pay triple.
Okay, thank you. Dalton McDonald.
Shared services going forward, I think, is an absolute must. With the province pulling out, inflation going forward, we cannot continue financing the way we always have in the past. We have to adapt and we have to change. We have 7 municipalities within the county of Northumberland, and lots of things that we all do, all are done with the same equipment and the same manpower, the same people, and lots of things there that we can deal with. We could share employees, we can share equipment, we can share ideas, and that's with the townships and the county. And the county is another one. We've done mutual aid in fire departments is a perfect example of sharing services. They set the bar on how we do that, and I think we have to follow that example going forward with the road departments and all the rest of it that we have. And we've already started doing some of that stuff, and we all have to continue to survive.
Okay, thank you. Charlie Barone.
I believe shared services should go forward. It would not only improve the services to the taxpayers, probably would add a savings to the taxpayers also. A much better efficient county or municipality running, and probably would help also pay down the debt and not inherit any more debt in the future. So for amalgamating services between the municipalities, I'm totally for it.
Thank you. Joan Stover.
Well, the shared services is the way to go for the survival, to keep our taxes so they're not getting too high and out of hand. The county is leading the way with providing ideas with the CAOs when they meet on how we can best share services. Sometimes we have come together with a neighboring municipality to look at if we're going to buy a piece of equipment. The problem we run into is everybody wants a piece of equipment first, but the municipalities are now trying to come together and say, well, we can work together. So that is one of the big pluses that we have going forward.
Gail Latchford.
I agree with shared services on certain things. Other things I do not. Sharing services with the county on roads and IT have been very successful and have saved money. Looking at neighboring municipalities, possibly it's saving some money there. But I think we need to really be careful with sharing, and especially at the county level, because the taxes might look lower on our township budget, but it may increase on the county budget, and you're the taxpayer, and there's only one. So, yes, I'm in favor of shared service, but I think that it has to be a cautious step. Thank you.
Okay, and John Logal.
I am in favor of shared services, providing there's a partnership where both win. I am concerned about the high cost and ever-increasing government in the county. I think it's growing and it's out of control. I'm concerned about amalgamation. Amalgamation does not make things better. It does not. It makes it cumbersome, slow, and inefficient. I'm concerned about ever joining our neighbors to the east or the west. Cramie's taxes are 25% higher than ours. Hamilton Townships are 8% higher than ours. why not, if we're gonna spend that to join the Hamilton Township, why don't we keep and get 8% more out of our own people and keep it the way it is? Thank you.
Thank you for responding to that one. We have our next question, which is also directed at all candidates. And the question is, do you feel it would be beneficial to encourage increased attendance and coverage of council meetings by the public and the media? If yes, how would you achieve this? So do you feel it would be beneficial to encourage increased attendance and coverage of council meetings by the public and the media? And if yes, how would you achieve this? We'll begin with Dalton McDonald.
Well, when I first got on council back a ways, we had a media representative at all our council meetings. It was pretty cool for a young fella to be on council and have this reporter sitting at the back and writing everything down. And you're thinking, you know, what should I say and what shouldn't I say, and you know, all that stuff. But that somewhere along the line disappeared. The papers didn't seem to respond to Alnwick Haldimand as far as representation under that point. And we've actually sent letters to them and mentioned it a few times that, you know, it'd be good advertising for us if we could get into the paper, because every time there was an event that did get in the paper, you know, people talked about it, and I thought that was good. But it's very difficult to get them to come and participate. I don't know whether we're not exciting enough or we don't pay enough. I'm really not sure, but I'm for it if we can have it.
Charlie Barone.
For the media to come out and partake in council meetings. Yeah, it's a difficult thing to get the media there to talk about it. You know, sometimes the meetings are boring, I must admit. But there are a few exciting ones. But it takes also the public, the taxpayers, to encourage the media to go there, spread the word of what we're doing, get feedback, okay, if we're doing the right job or not. Any future development they may want. Like I said, the media is an important pillar of the community. Thank you.
Joan Stover.
Well, I would certainly encourage the media, and I'd certainly encourage members of our municipality to attend our meetings. I just got thinking that our members of our municipality are watching what we're doing at council. When we do have a hot topic, when we were talking about the wind turbines, we had to bring in extra chairs. It was standing room only. I think people are coming when there's a topic that pertains to them. And we all are busy these days, and we try to have nice lively meetings, but sometimes we get caught up and it gets to be a little boring. But I'm encouraged by the amount of people that do come out when we do have a topic that pertains to the municipality.
Okay, we were asking about if you find it would be beneficial to encourage increased attendance and coverage of council meetings by the public and the media, and if yes, how would you achieve this? Gail Latchford.
I too agree with that we should be covered by the press at our council meetings. Previous councils I was on, the press was always there and got the word out to the people. I guess now people don't buy as many newspapers, and that's probably part of their issue because everybody's online with the internet. How do we achieve getting people out? Maybe we need to come more to the people. Maybe we need to have some open houses or some town hall meetings or a coffee party quarterly or every 4 months through, and let you come out and just ask the issues that you're interested in asking, because everybody has something that pertains to themselves. But certainly I would love to see more people at council, because until you get onto it, been there a few meetings and then get onto it, you can follow it pretty easy. So do come out.
Thank you. John Local.
We do need media coverage. It's unfortunate with 6,700 people that we can't get the media out. I know they do cover the Crammy, and there's often articles in the paper about them, so there's no reason why we can't. One thing I think we have to do is reinstitute the question and answer period in the agenda that we took out this term of council. We need your input, and I believe the media would come out to if that was there. And the other reason we need that is because council has to listen to what the public says. That's it.
Sam Reetzat.
Yes, what difference does it make if the media is shown or the text press is shown? Don't make no difference. Because if the people try to express his own opinion, Mr. McDonald or Mr. Boyle or the rest, the councillor, you're not allowed to talk. Shut up. Oh, did you like that? People come to listen. Mr. McDonald, this gentleman beside me, you're not allowed to talk. What difference does it make if people say come or don't come?
Okay. Thank you. We will move along to our next question, which is directed at the mayoral candidates. We're going to keep moving on. This one is a little wordy, so we ask that you listen carefully. There are over 300 families on the official waiting list for subsidized housing in Northumberland County. The county adopted a 10-year housing homelessness plan last year that does not include the building of any subsidized housing during that time. Is that good enough for our low-income residents? Please explain why or why not. Do we need a repeat? Fine. Okay, first up, John Logal.
I did actually want to.
You did one, okay. Over 300 families on the official waiting list for subsidized housing in Northumberland County. The county adopted a 10-year housing homelessness plan last year that does not include the building of any subsidized housing during that time. Is that good enough for the low-income residents? Please explain why or why not.
Well, obviously it's not good enough. There are people that are unfortunate, and we have them in our township as well as all the rest of them. We do have opportunities for infilling in some of the villages, and perhaps we should be looking at putting homes in there or helping to subsidize those.
Sam Reetzat.
This town, Alnwick, Haldimand Townships, needed to create a job. And let work the local people. Let work the contractor who belong in our town. Don't give a job to somebody who live 40 or 50 kilometers far, because that's a friend. Everybody equal. The job be supposed to be done for the local people. Thank you.
Dalton McDonald.
I totally agree in the social housing and helping of the people in need that we are behind. It's a county function, social services, and they struggle all the time trying to match the dollars in the right places to the right people. And it's a losing battle. I mean, there's no doubt, but we all know that. I mean, there's people out there that need help, and we sometimes have a real hard time helping them all. But subsidized housing, they're just finishing a big project in Camelford, where they were putting in, I think it was like 16 or 20 units. And that's been over the last couple of years, they've been doing that process, and it's finished, or just about finished, and I'm sure there's going to be more on the horizon, but it's very difficult for even Northumberland County to come up with 300 homes, you know, in one shot. It's a real challenge, and hopefully we can help some of them.
Thank you. We have a question now for the deputy mayors. In your opinion, who should have more influence on development in the township, developers or residents? So who should have more influence on development in the township, developers or residents? We'll start with Joan Stover.
Who should have more
Well, this is really a bit of an odd question, I guess, in one sense, because when a developer comes to council, as we have been doing for the last 4 years, we've been trying to work with the developer. There's different situations that are beyond our control. I know I have been part of a council that has worked with the developers. We have tried to get it working. And it's not really, I don't know, the question is not really quite, but we do work together. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a control issue at all. We both have rules and regulations that we have to follow.
Okay, and Gail Latchford.
Who should have more influence, the developer or the residents? We have to work within the official plan. And when a developer comes forward, we circulate to the neighbors so that they know what's going on. And I guess, I don't know whether you're asking us if the developer should have more influence on council or the residents. However, we're mandated to work within that official plan. And we're also mandated to provide and make sure, the bottom line is that you have housing, food, etc. And we need development in this municipality because we need to increase the residential tax base. And everything's covered. I don't see it as a worry. I see it as it's something that we're actually lacking in, is enough residential development.
Thank you. Charlie Barone, who do you should have more influence on development in the township, developers or residents?
Well, I'm strongly for development. When a developer comes from council and proposes their project, that person or that corporation have to meet all bylaws. And by allowing developers to come here, yes, we are generating tax dollars, yes, we're creating jobs, but at the same time, we should be giving the taxpayer a chance to voice their opinion, like an open house or open mic, if they have any concerns with the development coming in. And we should all weigh the concerns that they may have, even with the developer. And when we go forward, both sides should be in agreement without any harm to either side.
Thank you. Our next question is directed at all candidates. Will you support the use of ATVs within hamlets and villages in Alnwick, Haldimand, and why? Will you support use of ATVs within hamlets or villages of Alnwick, Haldimand, and why? We'll start with Sam Rizza. Will you support the use of ATVs within the hamlets and villages in Alnwick, Haldimand? Support use of ATVs for getting around within the area of towns and villages in Alnwick, Haldimand.
ATV you can use it because of the government land, and you can use it on the secondary road. Yes.
Dalton McDonald.
We have a memorandum of an understanding, and we have dealt with the ATV people over the years because of our rural background out here and the uses that can be done. And ATVs within hamlets and towns and subdivisions is not permitted, and it was not permitted. It was frowned upon, and I know I wouldn't go forward and change that. We would stay where we are with that. And I'd just like to say that, on a sad note, that the secretary of the ATV club that we negotiated these contracts with back when we were doing all this passed away. It was 55 years old. And we're going to miss her.
Thank you. Okay. Charlie Barone.
Let's be honest. I'm sure the majority of us have one sitting in the garage. They're trails for ATVs. just because you have insurance and a license plate, it doesn't mean you have to go down the main roads. I've seen a lot of accidents happen with ATVs. They should be restricted to trails, maybe separate lanes, okay, in secondary roads, but not on main roads or anything like that. But they should be insurance and license. If not, you know, they should be taken.
Thank you. Will you support the use of ATVs within the hamlets and villages in Alnwick, Haldimand, and why? Joan Stover.
Well, I would support the use of them in the hamlets and the villages, and as Mayor Donald has said, that we've worked with the Northumberland ATV Club, and one of the, I asked him about that. I said, you know, we don't really want to see these ATVs zooming all over the place. And he said, one thing that we want, Joan, is we want to be able to make a single route into a municipal, or into a hamlet, into a village. We want to go in, we want to buy gas there. So now we're supporting the gas stations. We want to be able to go to the restaurants. So now we're supporting the restaurants. We want to be able to go into a hamlet that's having a supper. We want to be able to go into that way. They are working with making it a specific way into Hamlet and a specific way out. So for that, if they continue that way, I would support that.
Thank you. Gail Latchford.
Actually, I agree with Joan on this one because it has come forward and we've discussed it. We're looking at it. And a direct route in and a direct route out for the specific reasons, but I don't support the ATVs just being in the villages and the hamlets. And it's not so much the ATV, it's the other drivers that may or may not see them or, you know, not realize that the safety for the ATVs, and quite often some of these ATV drivers aren't licensed. They're young. They're young. They're too young to be on the roads. Thanks.
John Logal.
First of all, ATVs are pieces of equipment that go pretty quick and everything else. My first concern is the safety of the residents living in the village, and that includes the kids and everything else. That would be my first concern. I was approached by the Northumberland ATV riders, though, and they did say they would just like a route into a village to pick up gas, and approved route, gas, or go for lunch. And it's a pretty tough call, and I think I would go to the residents of that particular community and find out what they felt, hold an open meeting and get their input, and then make a decision after that.
Okay, thank you very much. We have our next question here also for all candidates. And this one is, what is your opinion on borrowing money to pay for projects? For example, the Roseneath Fire Hall. So your opinion on borrowing money to pay for projects. For example, the Roseneath Fire Hall. And we'll begin with Dalton McDonald.
When we do, when we own the land for a new fire hall in Roseneath, and we do need a new fire hall in Roseneath. The one that's there is incapable of even holding the new trucks that we're buying. They won't even go in there. So we do need one. But the second thing is we've never bought a building or a bridge or anything major in all the time that I've been around that we didn't have infrastructure money to help us buy that. So if we can get some infrastructure money from the province to help support a fire hall, and then we have to top that up with some more money, which then I would agree to borrow that portion of it. But just to go out and borrow all the money to build a fire hall, we can't pull that off. We can't afford it.
Charlie Barone.
borrowing money for fire hall, for example, yeah, the fire hall is a central thing. But borrowing the money and knowing that you don't have the money down the road to pay for it, it's not the right thing either. But I understand the residents need to be serviced. So yes, we should have to be looking at our reserves. We should have to be looking at our revenues coming in. And then if we can lobby the provincial government to throw in money, yeah, sure, I'm for it. Let's build the hall. If the provincial government could support us, okay, at a low rate, if we're forced to borrow from them, okay, yeah, I don't have an issue there.
Joan Stover.
Well, the infrastructure money that we're not sure if it's coming down or not, but I'm not sure if you're aware of the a third, the federal puts in a third, the province puts in a third, and the municipality puts in a third. In that case, I would support borrowing the money to get the fire hall up and going. I would also support and that is our next, one of the next major buildings that we will be looking at in the municipality. With that, we're also looking at grants as well. So it's kind of like a two-part question because our Treasury Department has been looking at grants and how we can word the grants that we're successful. So I would support it in that way.
Gail Latchford.
Yes, I would support a loan to build the fire hall in Roseneath. The thing you have to keep in mind is, up until this point, the province doesn't give money for fire services. It used to give a little bit for fire, but now it doesn't. This fire hall needs to be built. You need it. You need the service, you need some new equipment in there, and we have one fire department, so a new fire hall and a truck that can roll out of there is rolling south. So it's going to serve the whole area as well. And interest rates are very low right now. We can take years to build up reserves, but the cost of the fire hall is going to go higher and higher. We've got the ground, we've got the plans, we need to get that fire hall up. And if you look at paying for that fire hall over a number of years, you're benefiting from those tax dollars.
Thank you. Okay, again, your opinion on borrowing money to pay for projects, for example, the Roseneath Fire Hall. John Logal.
We need today a new fire hall in Roseneath. We are ground ready today. If the money was there, if the government come along with 33% from each of the two federal and provincial governments, and we could throw in the 33%, we could start. Unfortunately, we don't have any money. We don't have any reserves, and that's a problem that's been plagued with this township for a long time. I guess we could borrow it, but we need to build reserves for emergencies or long-term planning. And that's all I have to say.
And Sam Ritza.
I'd like to know how much it costs to this fire hall. Do you have an idea? Can you give me some?
It'll be over $1 million.
Over $1 million.
Yep.
Who's gonna get this project done? Inside, every week, or outside? Anyway, to build a fire hall, so yes, I did, because I was found in the fire department chief. So, the fire hall is built, I don't mind. But previously, they say don't have no money. No money. But I come spend $200,000 extra on a job. I go and check the job and somebody assaulted me because he said, oh no, you know,
Thank you.
check that job.
Okay. We have, we're moving right along here. We're at for closing statements now. And you'll have 60 seconds to make your statement. And this is the question. Again, we've got a couple of parts to it, but all related. What is the best thing current council has achieved? What decision or action would you revisit given the chance? And if elected, what would you most like to achieve in your term? So we'll do that one more time. What is the best thing current council has achieved? What decision or action would you revisit given the chance? And if elected, what would you most like to achieve in your term? And we'll begin with Charlie Barone.
What has council achieved? In my opinion, have they achieved anything? No. I haven't seen, all I've seen is just a council that never agreed or closed doors on the public. As I said, the taxpayer is the most important person. What would I like to see if I am elected? Okay, I like to see taxes lowered. I like to see jobs for people. I like to see development brought in. I like people to be proud when they're walking up and down the roads, saying that this is our township, this is where we live, and bringing a lot more development, tax dollars. Thank you.
Okay. Joan Stover.
Well, I think the best thing that we have done in this last 4 years is we have tightened our belts. We have saved money where it was a little unpopular in just cutting the 2 council members from the council. We will save in excess of $160,000 over the 4-year term. We've had to really look at the whole makeup of how we did business. Their opportunity arose with the retirement of an employee that we brought the employee from the Roseneath office and brought her down. I would like to continue with the cost-saving measures that we've done. I look forward to meeting everyone. I look forward to working with you, and we've only just begun.
Gail Latchford.
I came onto this council in 2012. I replaced Mr. Holmes, and I would congratulate this council especially for the first 2 years. They made some very tough choices. They weren't popular. They had to be made. And in doing that and continuing on the past 2 years, we can start to see now the turnaround. Things have been cleaned up. There were decisions that people didn't like, but they've got done. And I think now, it sets the stage for the new council. They can come on now, whoever the new council is, and start fresh and stay within the new policies and the new procedures and not have to worry about finding money for this and finding money for that. It's mostly taken care of, and it was tough.
Thank you. What is the best thing current council has achieved? What decision or action would you revisit given the chance? And if elected, what would you most like to achieve in your term? John Logal.
The best achievement this council has done in the past 4 years happened, I believe, in the first couple years, when we took a staff that was mediocre or maybe sometimes not even that good, and we moved it around and put people on the job that know what they want and are leading the pack. And I'm talking about our treasurer, our building inspector, and our roads person who has come along an awful quickly and is doing a good job there as well. What would I like to see do better? I would like to see the team set goals, know where they're striving for, and measure the results. I would also like to see better communications to you, the residents, and we have to have feedback and good communications both ways. So we know what you want, and we do our best to get them.
Okay. Sam Reitzel.
Yes. I'd like to take a step to have a better service them say a private road never been plowed. Never. But these people who pay tax on private road. They said, no, we can clean it because it is a private road. But how come they collect tax? So private road is just a convenience. Also, and Rosenite done a beautiful job on the corner. Flower shop, gazebo, beautiful job. But we look very happy because the other side and west side don't do nothing there. But that's the second class people.
Thank you. And finally, Dalton McDonald.
Well, I'm not sure I was on the same council as some of these people are talking about. I thought we had a council of 7 there this last 4 years that worked and gelled together very well. I'm proud of all of them. I think they all did a good job. And I think everybody added to the pile, and I think we worked as a team, and I think we've done a lot of things, and I'll just come down with a list. We've updated our new official plan. We're done with that. We hired 3 new employees, as John has thought of, or replaced. They're not new, but we hired 3 new employees, and they're all excellent employees. We launched an official website in the last couple of years. We have a new internal computer system that we've got staff involved in now, and we're running a lot better system than we had before. Our councillors are all working with laptops, and we're cut down on all the paper and all the stuff that goes with that. We've did an asset management plan. We've reduced council to be more efficient. We've done accessibility programs in the arena and every building that we've been in.
Thank you. Thank you for your answers to everybody. Yep, that time goes by quickly. And we have reached the end of the debate part of the evening. And we just once again want to thank all our candidates for coming out and sharing their views. To you, the audience, of course, for submitting your questions and for coming out, of course, in the first place, to hear what your hopefuls have to say, so that you can hopefully make a better decision when election day comes around. And of course, the many folks that have helped bring this together, including the Northumberland-Central Chamber of Commerce, Kevin Ward working tirelessly with his team. I'll put this together and organize it. Once again, to Tom Hall on the sound there, doing an excellent job. And I know we're going to leave some people out, but of course we also have to thank the Northumberland Federation of Agriculture, who is also helping meeting. And on that note, to make our closing statements here, is Alan Carruthers.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. It is quite a job and stuff that the Central Chamber of Commerce has done, so I'd like to thank them. I'd like to thank Kevin again for fielding questions. He's got a stack of questions over there that haven't been answered. I know there's a few people still waving around. I'd like to thank the school trustees for running. I'd like to thank the councillors that are running. And I'd like to thank the mayor and deputy mayor candidates and stuff here tonight. I've got one more question to ask you, but as a recently married man, this is about the only time I'm going to have the last word, because I know what it's like to get cut off. So, my wife is back there. I got to make sure that she's good. I'd like to thank the camera guy back there. His name is Chris Pelche. It's an online service, internet service for Northumberland. Tom Hall, our sound guy. To Kevin Stern for our moderator. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. The last question is going to be a simple yes or no question. Gail Latchner, do you support agriculture? Yes. Joan Stover.
A farm girl, yes.
Charlie Barone?
Yes.
Dalton McDonald?
For sure.
Yes, you do. John Logo?
I certainly do.
That's a loaded question. Thank you tonight.